Alright. Shalom Akim, Kal Halal Imla, Yahweh Shem Yashab Bashar Kal Kudash, double on the scripts and apostles, Thadiyah Shah for strength, in order to make this video. And shalom once more to you brothers, man. It's the brother Ratazar Halawaya, willing or will, in terms of Yahweh's will. That's what Ratazar means. And then Racha meaning spirit, and Halawaya meaning praise Yahweh. So willing spirit, praise Yahweh. So this is I was on about the swine last time. So it says in verse 7, Leviticus 11:7, and the swine, though he divide the hoof and be cloven fitted, yet he cheweth not the cud, he is unclean to you. Of their flesh shall ye not eat, and their carcass shall ye not touch. They are unclean to you. These shall ye eat of all that are in the waters. So now it's talking about the animals of the land. Now we're talking about the fish of the water. So it says in verse 9, Leviticus 11:9, these shall ye eat of all that are in the waters. Whatsoever hath fins and scales in the waters, in the seas, and in the rivers, them shall ye eat. Again, key part here. I read it again. Leviticus 11:9. These shall ye eat. So this is what you will eat. You're allowed to eat. Of all that are in the waters, the seas, the oceans, the rivers. Whatsoever hath fins and scales in the waters, in the seas, and in the rivers, them shall ye eat. So key part, fins and scales, man. Let's try and clarify that as well. Fins and scales. Fins and scales. Let me get an image and then show you guys something as well. Something simple. This is essentially this is what it's saying there. I'm gonna get another image as well. But here, when the scriptures talk about the fins and the scales, you see the dorsal fins, the pectoral fins. I think that says the anal fins. Let me check that actually. Yeah, and it says the tail fins and the caudal fins as well, right over here. Tail fins and caudal. So all of those are just different type of fins. So the fish that have fins, and it says scales as well, which is kind of like the skin of the fish. It's like it helps protect the fish. Let's see, scales of fish. So that's the fins that I just showed you. Now for the scales, hold on. For the scales, normally prior to washing the fish as well. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, so that's that. Normally, when people wash the fish, the scales are what comes off of the fish, man. They're like a skin type of protection for the fish as well when they're fishing it, when they're in the water, when they're moving in the water. So that's the scales that you can see around the table, the black board right there near the knife. Those little bits right there are scales of the fish. So the point is, if it's got fins and it's got scales, I'll show you the images right there. We're allowed to eat it. That's the point. Now it says here, and all that have not, this is verse 10, Leviticus 11 verse 10, and all that have not fins nor scales in the seas and in the rivers of all that move in the waters, and of any living thing that is in the water, there shall be an abomination unto you. It says, there shall be even an abomination unto you. Ye shall not eat their flesh, but you shall have their carcasses. But you shall have their carcasses in abomination. So of course we're not allowed to eat any other fish that does not have fins and scales. says in verse 12, whatsoever hath no fins nor scales in the waters shall be an abomination unto you. And these are they which ye shall have in abomination among the fowls. So we went from animals of the land to the fish of the sea. Now we're at the fowls of the air, the birds of the air. So it says here, and these are they which ye shall have in abomination, which means you're not allowed to eat these birds of the air among the fowls. They shall not be eaten, they are an abomination. So these are the actual fowls now. We're not allowed to eat the eagle and the ostrich and the osprey and the vulture and the kite after his kind. Every raven after his kind, and the owl and the night hawk and the cuckoo and the hawk after his kind, and the little owl and the cormorant and the great owl and the swan and the pelican and the gear eagle, the stork, the heron after her kind, and the lapwing and the bat, all fowls that creep going upon all fours shall be an abomination unto you. It says all fowls that creep going upon all four, in terms of the way they crawl, shall be an abomination unto you. Yet these may ye eat. Salakia. Leviticus 11:21. Yet these may ye eat, for every flying creeping thing that goeth upon all four, which have legs above their feet, to leap withal upon the earth. So come on, it says that's what we're allowed to eat. It says, yet these may ye eat of every flying creeping thing that goeth upon all four, which have legs above their feet, that they may leap withal upon the earth. Kind of like a chicken, man. Chicken, when they flutter about, they can jump a little bit too. So that's why we're allowed to eat it as well, because they have legs above their feet. In terms of the animals that I mentioned there, from verse 13, Leviticus 11:13 to 20, those are about 20 kinds of birds of which we're not allowed to eat. Those are like predator birds as well. And if you actually see what they eat, it's also by nature that we shouldn't be eating it as well. But of course, the scriptures is what stands true. That's about 20 birds there, man, from the eagle up down to the bat as well. So those are the things that can't be eaten. And even the raven as well, man. One time, I actually saw a raven eating a pigeon. Man. It was in a building site close to my house as well. And the thing is, the raven, the raven was eating the damn pigeon, man. And the thing is, I actually saw pigeons that were also close by, but they were like, the building level. But they saw it, man. they saw it. That's why the pigeons fear ravens and pigeons fear other predator birds. Because they know that their flesh can also be food for those predator birds as well, man. Hence why when a raven comes, or an eagle, not eagle, but rather a seagull or a raven comes, or some kind of a crow or something like that. If it comes by and there's a pigeon there, the pigeon flees, man. the pigeon knows what's up. It's like, yep, I ain't trying to die. That's pretty much the mentality right there, man. Kind of like a lion and a deer or something like that. Typical predator and prey scenario. So this is verse 22. It says, even these of them ye may eat the locust. So this is what we're allowed to eat as well in terms of insects. The locust after his kind, and the bold locust after his kind, and the beetle after his kind, and the grasshopper after his kind. But all other flying creeping things which have 4 feet shall be an abomination unto you. And for these ye shall be unclean. Whatsoever toucheth the carcass of them shall be unclean until the even. So until the evening, before we get unclean. before we get cleaned. The evening is when the new day starts. And whosoever beareth aught of the carcass of them shall wash his clothes and be unclean until the evening. The carcasses, so this is verse 26 of Leviticus 11, the carcasses of every beast which divideth the hoof, and is not cloven footed, nor cheweth the cud, are unclean unto you. Every one that toucheth them shall be unclean. So even just, not even just avoiding the food, but is also avoiding touching the dead bodies of these unclean animals as well, man. It will then make you automatically unclean until the evening, of course, of that day. So, and whatsoever goeth upon his paws among all the manner of beasts that go on all fours, those are unclean unto you. But so toucheth their carcass shall be unclean until the evening. So, of course, really, it's all about dead bodies here, man. If you touch a dead body, dead animal body, man, you're pretty much unclean. Not pretty much, you are unclean until the evening. So yeah, verse 28, Leviticus 11 and 28, and he that beareth the carcass of them shall wash his clothes and be unclean until the evening. Until the even, they are unclean unto you. These also shall be unclean unto you among the creeping things that creep upon the earth. So these are the unclean things that creep upon the earth. The weasel and the mouse and the tortoise after his kind. The ferret, the chameleon, and the lizards, and the snail, and the mole. Those are unclean to you among all that creep. Whatsoever doth touch them when they be dead shall be unclean until the evening. And upon whatsoever any of them which they are dead doeth fall, it shall be, let me read verse 32 again, Leviticus 11 and 32, and upon whatsoever any of them when they are dead doth fall, it shall be unclean, whether it be any vessel of wood or raiment or skin or sack, whatsoever vessel it be, wherein any work is done, it must be put into water, and it shall be unclean until the evening. It shall be cleansed. God, so hold on. So yeah, that's pretty much the point. The point is, if you touch the dead body of a carcass of an animal, you'll be unclean until the evening. So that's really the point there. And it says, hold on, and every earthen vessels where into any of them fall, if whatsoever is in it shall be unclean, and ye shall break it. Of all meats which may be eaten, that on which such water cometh, shall be unclean, and all drink that may be drunken, every such vessel shall be unclean. So yeah, this is really going into the uncleanness as well, after knowing, okay, what foods you can eat and you can't eat. But that's really the point. The point is really between Leviticus chapter 11 verse 1 to about verse 30, I'll say. You know, in terms of the meats you can eat and the ones you can't eat, it being clarified, man. And the reason why, also another reason why we shouldn't be eating that stuff, man. First of all, is the fear of Yahweh Shim Yashai. Because of course, if you then disobey Yahweh Shim Yashai, then you're going to have to deal with the consequences of it, man. The judgment of Yahweh Shim Yashai. Which is not something you want to deal with, man. You know, so let me get this as well. Another reason why we shouldn't be eating those detestable meats is because we're supposed to be separate from the heathen nations. And this being mentioned within the laws, this is our wisdom, you know, in the sight of the nations as well. That's a scripture in itself. But let me get this key precept here that I said I was going to get. It says in Deuteronomy 14 and 2, for thou art an holy people unto the Lord Yahweh, thy power, and Yahweh hath chosen thee to be a peculiar people unto himself above all nations that are upon the earth. So of course, Yahweh Shim Yashai has chosen us to be separate from these heathen nations, and of course to be above them as well. You know, why do you think that in Sirach chapter 6 verse 56, it talks about the rest of the nations born of Adam are regarded as spittle. That's the point. So spittle meaning spit, saliva, which means they're worthless, they're insignificant, they have no meaning. You know, so of course, if one of their vessels died, the boss side wouldn't give two shits, as you might hear in the movies as well. Anyway, so the point is, says Deuteronomy 14:2, for thou art an holy people unto the Lord Yahweh, thy power, and the Lord Yahweh hath chosen thee to be a peculiar people unto himself, above all nations that are upon the earth. So of course, through these laws that has given us as well, that's what separates us from the heathens too. You know. But anyways, it's commanded of us to listen, but we know we're not just saved. We're not saved by the law. So let me get that as well. You know, I'm gonna wrap up this video as well because I know this is like the part 3 to this little series. Hold on. So that was pretty much Leviticus 11, and then I read Deuteronomy 14:2, because we're separate, we're a peculiar people. We're not supposed to be as the heathens. And the laws, the commandments are really a wisdom in the sight of the heathens as well. So let's get to the book of Acts. So this is Acts chapter 15 and 11. But we believe that through the grace of the Lord Yahushua HaMashiach, we shall be saved even as they are. And, you know, just for a quick context, you know, this is really talking about the difference between the speckled bird and, of course, those who were following the customs of the Israelites back in the day. But this was, you know, with Paul and Barnabas, man, you know, traveling to speak unto the Gentiles, which the Gentiles here is context for the speckled birds. Well, I say speckled birds, Salakia, but really the Israelites scattered across the world, man. That's really what it is. So it's saying, now you get to put Acts 15 and 11, but we believe through the grace of the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Oh, well, yes, Yahweh Shem Yahushai. But it says here, through the grace of the Lord Yahweh HaMashiach, we shall be saved even as they are. So the same way, you know, you've got speckled bird Israelites as well, who come into this truth too. You know, Gentiles, of which they were referred to here as well. It's the same way that we also believe we're going to get grace through Yahushua, man. You know, let me get one more precept and I'm a wrap up Yaris as well. So that was Acts 15 and 11. And it links with something else as well. Acts 15 and 11, there's something else too. Let me actually check it quickly. So Acts 15 and 11 links to another precept here too. So this is John chapter 1 and 17. For the law, so St. John chapter 1 verse 17. For the law was given by Moses, but grace and truth came by Yahushua HaMashiach. And that links to Acts 15 and 11, because Paul also believed that through the grace of Yahushua HaMashiach, that we would be saved as well. You know, so let me read, let me actually see that again, Salakia. So Acts 15 and 11 again, but we believe that through the grace of our Lord Yahushua HaMashiach, we shall be saved even as they are. So even as the Gentiles can also be saved. which are really speckled bird Israelites, or just Israelites scattered around the world, man. You know? So yeah, that's really the point, man. Our grace is in Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. So, of course, we're not saved by the law, but by the grace of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. And that's really the point right there, man. So, you know, Yahweh you're edified, you know, you're understood, and Yahweh you know, you keep the understanding and retain it as well, man. So, Kah Halalina, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, Hashem Rechak Kodash, and double on Instagrams and apostles. Thadayah for the strength in order to make this video. And shalom to you brothers as well. It's been a brother Ratazar Rechak Allah wa Yah. And Thadayah Shah, Brakthea Shah for my strength as well. Once more, in order to do this video. Shalom to you brothers, man. Shalom.